Okay, so definitely my video is a bit screwy today. I don't know why. Hello everyone, welcome. Oh, my mic's not done. That might help. I don't even know if my mic is working. No, it should be working. God, we're off to a great start. We've got jittery video. I've not had my mic down, but at least I'm not muted, so I'm better than Neil in some aspects. Right. I'm gonna just wait a little bit for other people to join in if they are waiting, and then we'll get started. You'll have to let me know as well whether or not the video is buffering or not. I have been told by YouTube apparently it's not getting enough data for a smooth experience, so if it's a bit funky, then I'll have to look into it at a different point. I don't know why it's being so bad today. For some reason, just it cannot handle encoding of multiple bits of video. So you'd think it would be, but apparently not. So I don't know, because like if I go on Discord and I change between channels, it's taking ages for the channels to change, and then I'll notice like the FPS drops down to 20 frames in OBS, which is a bit of a pain. So I'm not sure what's going on there, in all honesty, but hopefully this goes smoothly after this point. I'd really hope so. Anyway. Right. So, in case anyone is just about to join in, or is wondering what the sort of plan for the stream is, we're going to do it in a different sort of style to last time. We're going to have a... We're going to try to do a bit of electronics work. We're trying to do a bit of design work. We'll try to do... maybe we could do a bit of modelling later. But I want to do sort of a... Not strictly an AMA, but you know, if you have any questions during, of any, any questions during the stream, feel free to put them in chat, and I'll happily respond to them. But yeah, just gonna wait for a couple more people, just in case anyone has, because I kind of messed up as well. I put out the link to stream and then put that link into OBS, and I selected the broadcast, and I accidentally hit select broadcast and start streaming immediately, and I wasn't ready, and it was completely on the wrong screen, so I ended up having to panic, go into private, set that stream to be private, and then reset up all the links, and I've had to go and edit all of the shares, so that's kind of been fun. So I might actually just go and check to make sure I have got all the right links, because if people are trying to tune in with the old link, it's not going to work. So yeah, actually I'm going to go check that now, because otherwise that's going to be a problem. Right, I am going to hope that's all works. Oh, what's going on with here? What's with the video? Wrong scene. That'll be why. There we go. Right, sorry about that. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started with the DDR amp PCB, or rather my amp PCB for the mini DDR cabinet. And the reason I need to do this is because the amplifier can only fit in a very certain area. In fact, let me see if I can quickly show you that. So here is the back of the cab. I'm hoping that my... oh no, it's dropping the frames, isn't it? Cool. Thank you. So if we get rid of these two subwoofer boxes, you can just about see in here, between the coin tower and the subwoofers, is just enough space for a circuit board to go in between the two. And I need to fit the amplifier inside of there because there's just nowhere else I can put it. There's not going to be enough space to really put it into the inside of the cabinet, or there would be plenty of space to put it inside of the monitor cabinet, but it wouldn't be any... it'd be kind of annoying to have to route cables down into the base section, so it would make the most sense to go into the base cabinet. So that's where it needs to go, but it needs to fit within that area down in here. So need to design a circuit board that can go in there. Hiya, Game Glitcher. So that's what I want to do today. So within KiCad, I have, when it eventually loads, there we go. So I've made this PCB here, or at least got started on the layout of this PCB for the amplifier. This is very much subject to complete change. This is using two TDA 7377 amplifier ICs, and reason I'm doing those is because they're basically abundant. There's loads of them about, and they support the subwoofers, the specifications for the subwoofers I want. They also support the mid-range drivers they support the mid-range drivers and the tweeters basically, but I can't run the subwoofers and the drivers at the same off the same chip, because even though it's stereo audio, the drivers are 4 ohm and the subwoofers are 8 ohm speakers, so I can't just, well, it's not ideal to mix them together. So that's the reason we're doing this with two separate chips. So one will be doing the subwoofers entirely, and one will be doing the drivers and tweeters. And these chips are rated for something like, I think they're 30 watts, something like that, which is more than I actually need. Although I think realistically, I don't think I'll ever get it that high, and I might even limit it in the audio volume, because otherwise it would just get a bit nuts. Because both of these, at least the TDA 7377 will put in a lot of power into the drivers, and the drivers do not need a lot of power going into them. I mean, they need about 10 watts. They're rated for 10 watts, but they'll distort a long time before then. So I would probably need to set the maximum volume in hardware, and that'll be way below the max of these chips output. Well, it'll be way below the maximum output that they're rated for, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's kind of the idea here, and we're going to be mostly looking at this, but when I probably eventually get bored, we'll probably do a bit of 3D modeling maybe. But yeah, so I think really what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get started, because otherwise I'm going to do like I was last stream, just dither for ages. And yeah, because I've been noticing there's some encoding errors popping up, if there is any buffering or any delay, I will have to look at it at another point, because I'm not sure why it's doing it. I think it's Fusion 360 doing something, but there's so many variables in it, and it could just be the fact that I've got OBS set up incorrectly. So right, let's get going. So I need to make a ground layer first, and I'm going to use just a filled polygon. Where's all my nets? I should have way more nets than that. That's interesting. Okay, spoke width. What I'll do is I'll do 254 down here. And then let's go and put that across. Actually, that should be our ground layer. I should say as well, the reason it's going to be tricky and the reason I've laid it out like this is because of these two heat sinks. So I can't put them. In fact, let me just show you. I actually did manage to get the second camera working, or it should be working. Let's see if we can. There we go. So this is the amplifier. Well, this is the amplifier PCB that I'm somewhat basing my design off of. This is just one of, I think this is yeah, an LOSC TDA 7377 Pro. Now I could probably just stick this amp straight into the cab. I mean, it will fit, because this is 55 or 54 millimeter wide. Hi there, John, or how do you pronounce your name? Is it Orion or Orion or something like that? Because I'm guessing it's something like that, because you've got the 0 in there, but I'm going to try to. So, where was I? I got distracted. So yes, I could potentially just put this into the cab itself at the moment, but it's not ideal because first of all, I'd have to remove this volume pot. I'd have to, well, I don't have to remove these connectors, but I'd want to use something like JSTs or Molex connectors anyway. But otherwise, oh yeah, and I need a connector for the audio in. But yes, oh, and I think that was the other thing. The subwoofer in it, it's done in bridged mode, but it's only on one channel, and I need both channels of the TDA chip to be in bridged mode for it to work. So that's the amp PCB I referenced, and that's why we've got the same heatsink in here. I've struggled to find that heatsink anywhere, so I'm gonna have to see where I can source one of those from. But then again, I'm not very good at sourcing parts. My way of sourcing parts is go onto Mouser, see if it works, or sorry, see if I can find what I need to find, and then put it into the board. And if I can't do that, then I usually get stuck. And it's going to be a mostly SMD board because, well, I don't want to go onto the underside of the PCB if I don't have to. It'd be cheaper that way. And yes, like stuff like here, I'm using the same Molex Microfit Junior connector for the power, and that's purely because I'm going to be using it on the I/O board, so I might as well use it here. Oh yes, that's right. So I said in the last stream, if you didn't catch the last stream, you can go watch it on the YouTube channel if you want to, but it's about 3 hours long, so I don't blame you if you don't want to. It's a good point. We will do that, Orion, and we'll do that a bit later, because the thing is, like, the PCB is going to be like 5-6 mil off the bottom of the cab, so it's not going to be a great amount of airflow anyway, but you're right, I should put them under there anyway. Let me just catch everyone up on what we did last time, or at least how I finished it up. So on the last stream we had a look at this schematic, we put this all together. The differences that I've done here is I've changed a couple of things, like the connectors. I've removed all the inductors because I realised there really wasn't much point putting them in there. And the only other thing I think I've done is I've added a couple of connections so that when the USB power is connected from the computer, it'll enable the IO enable and amp enable, so that will turn on both the amplifier PCB, and it should enable the 5-volt circuitry for powering up the internal IO board. Quite honestly, it might have been thunder. It looks like it's going to be storming. Hopefully not, because it's been really humid today. I'm assuming it's been humid quite a lot throughout the UK, but good lord, it's been terrible. Not as bad as yesterday, whereas yesterday I was standing in, you know, I could be standing in the shade and I'll just be sweating because it was just that humid. Yeah, so we designed this circuit, we designed this schematic last time, and the PCB we never got around to touching because I divvied for so long. So let me show you what I ended up going off and designing. This is the end result. I could do it better, I'll be honest. I could probably put a little bit more thought into it, but the only thing I need to do is buy the connector parts and basically make a cardboard mock-up. And when I mean cardboard mock-up, I literally mean a cardboard mock-up. This is pretty much just printed card, but it gives me a physical reference for the PCB. So I need to do that, and then I'll need to see if any of the connectors are interfering when I'm plugging stuff in. I mean, I could do a load of maths and figure it out, but sometimes it's nicer to see in person, yeah, that's going to work, rather than like theorizing it should be fine. So those connectors are all like that. I've put down a power button and an LED because and another update we'll come on to in a minute is I've decided the way I'm going to do the NUC on the inside is that I am going to decase it. It made a lot more sense the more I thought of it. So we've got the two IO panel buttons, two IO panel connectors here for the button and the LED. The only thing I need to do, in fact I might do that very quickly, is just make that, I might just connect 1 and 2 together so that you could use either a 3-pin or a 2-pin cable. So let's just quickly update the schematic. And we'll just update the board, and we'll just connect the two together. Although we'll use 250. Did I use 300? Whatever. It's connected, that's all that matters. Right, so other differences. It's using a Molex Microfit Junior connector for distributing 12 volt throughout the internals of the cab. There are 3 pins. One pair is going to go to the NUC, one pair is going to go to the amplifier. In fact, sorry, 2 pairs are going to go to the amplifier because the amplifier will be sort of acting as the rebar. The rebar was this board I had originally, which was just a relay on a board that when the PC turned on or when requested, it would send 12 volt power to the amplifier and other stuff. I realised it didn't make much sense to have it as a separate PCB, so the PCB is now going to do double duty, and it's going to do the power distribution as well. So the Microfit Junior connector will go from the IO panel to the amp, and then the amp will control the power. The only thing it won't control the power of is the 5 volt down here. And the reason it's on the I/O panel is so that there's a direct connection from the expansion connector to the what's it called? The MOSFET that enables the 5 volts power supply output, and that goes off to the I/O board. Then I've just got a semi-standard audio output header, which is closely following the AC97 standard, but it's not exact. It's got like the amp enable lines in there. And then yeah, we've got two extra connectors, one going for the external video that'll go towards the LCD in the cab, and then JVS, which provides 5 volt and power to the JVS I/O board. So that's where we're at with the rear I/O panel. It's not a particularly interesting board, but it is important in the grand scheme of things. Oh, and yeah, it does have the integrated USB receiver, sorry, USB hub. So there's that. I've just realised as well I need to update the connector on my AMP PCB. So yeah, and since we're on a bit of a update roll, because I'm really trying to procrastinate, on the back we have the I/O PCB, or at least the outline of it in CAD software. I really want to put the connectors on the board, but that means adding them, getting connectors downloaded, added into KiCad, and then exporting the whole board again. I will do that, but it's not an urgent thing. I just needed to put this somewhere on it so I could figure out in space where it's going to go and how it's going to mount. So yeah, I said I was going to decase the NUC, so I've decased the NUC. This is actually a step file that you can download from Intel for this purpose. And the reason we're doing this is just because, well, there's two reasons. One, the NUC case, I don't know how visible this is going to be. The NUC case is quite thick. And I mean, the board it's still thick, but it's not that thick, so we can work with it. But this is just a standard form factor, so I can put this board in, I can put in a future, any kind of NUC board, hopefully. And all I need to worry about is making sure like the I/O panel connectors are the same, and I think Intel basically make them use the same front panel connectors. So this one I'm not going to use. Two reasons. One, it's old. I mean, it would do the job fine probably, but it doesn't have integrated audio, and because it doesn't have integrated audio, that's going to mean I'm going to have to add either a DAC onto the HDMI port, or I'm going to have to add in a USB audio DAC, and I don't want to mess with that. I just want it to have built-in audio. And yeah, I've just started to make a backplane for these boards. This is going to attach into the rear supports. These rear supports hold on the back panel, so I'm going to make it support the boards as well. And despite the fact my subwoofer boxes are apparently completely misaligned, it's got plenty of clearance. If you go by this base pad here, there's good 10mm distance separation between them. But yeah, so that's just the updates, and yeah, let's get back onto doing the AMP PCB, because I realise I've not added a ton of things I need to add, like the relay. So let's get on with that. And like I said, if there's any questions of this, or channel questions or anything like that throughout the stream, then feel free to ask away. Right, so let's get a relay. Here's another point. In the middle of the board, I can put in almost any height component, but on the edges of the board, underneath the subwoofers, I only have a little bit of gap. So how much gap do I have? Oh yeah, I'm only going to have 15mm of gap, and I'm going to have less than that because I'm going to have standoffs. So that's basically SMD territory only. Cool. So relay. Also, we need to get something that can handle the amount of power that we want it to handle. So let's think. We need probably about, well, we need at least 30 watts per amplified chip, at least. And then we'll want a bit of spare as well, so maybe we need to get a relay with about 7.5 amps of current handling capability. Let's see. We don't need it to be dual throw. We just need single pin, single throw. Right, and cool. Let's get this going. So if we get onto Mauser, why not? Relays. Like I said, this is just to give me an idea of what we can get. That's a good question. The simple answer is I haven't actually thought of how to deal with that. So for the ripple on the 12 volt power supply, it's going to be a staggered startup. So the NUC will turn on first, and then the amp will turn on because the NUC will supply power to the amp enable line, and then the amp itself has four big, like, I mean, just that, you know, those size of capacitors on them. And even then, I'm probably going to put on a little 557 or 555 timer that delays the amp turning on, like unmuting itself, for about a half a second anyway, so you should get a nice silent startup. As for the NUC having an earth loop, that's a good question. I hadn't thought about it, and I don't actually have an answer to that. But I mean, if I needed to put in like a little ground loop isolator on the inside, that's something that I can add. I'll have space inside the cab that I can use that for, but I'm not sure if I'll need that yet. Oh, that song starts to stop suddenly. I'm not quite sure what you mean about the NUC then, in all honesty. Do you mean, so obviously we got the NUC, and I know what you're saying with when you turn this on there's going to be ripple in the power supply, but what I don't understand really is, because I can't change anything about how the NUC powers up. I can only feed it 12 volt, but the NUC is going to be permanently powered. That's the thing. The NUC itself isn't switched. It'll have a direct connection from the back DIN connector from the Microfit Junior into the NUC. So it's not going to be switched by the amp PCB. Oh, yep, we've got storm on the horizon. Just saw some lightning. Fun. I'll have to see about doing the 12 volt ripple, but it's going to be a compromise either way, because either I have two power supplies, one 19 volt for the NUC, which is more efficient, or I have to deal with other considerations like with the 12 volt ripple. As for external DACs and stuff like that, oh yes, so I do have a potential solution. So the NUC, the amps go through a op-amp stage, preamp stage, and these are powered up by a small 78L09, so small 9-volt regulator. No, the NUC isn't on a separate PSU, but it's not switched. I don't think there's much. Like I said, I want a single cable. I could maybe get one with 2 power supply outputs, but I don't want to do that if I don't have to. But if I do have to, then I'll do that. So yeah, going back to the op-amp stage, it's got its own power supply, so hopefully that'll help. But if there's going to be isolation, but then so the NUC runs on the same 12-volt PSU, but the NUC itself is not switched. So the amp itself will physically be turned off by a relay. The NUC won't be. The NUC itself is always soft powered, so it will. You will always be able to turn the NUC on, but the amp won't turn on unless something is requesting it to turn on. Right. I'll tell you what we can get rid of is all of this. So this was supposed to be a more intelligent way of switching the audio on and off from the NUC, or rather switching it between the NUC and then the external jacks. But this isn't going to work because there's no way I can really detect when someone's plugged in a headphone, and that's because of the fact I'm using vertical jacks. And I can get vertical jacks that have headphone detection, but they're not common, and I don't want to go into specific parts, so this isn't going to work. So I'm just going to get rid of this. It's a shame because I thought it was quite a nice solution of using an actual analog audio switch, but right. So we want to get rid of. Do we want to get rid of the PC? We don't need the actual jacks on the board, nor do we need the PC in. We don't need these, so get rid of those. Okay. We don't need the mute line. I do need to go and find out the pinout for the. Do need to find out the pinout for the what's it called? Audio connector. In fact, I'll just go into the other schematic and copy it. That's fine. Right, so there's the audio connector. Let's copy the whole thing for now, so I've got a reference. It would be nice if KiCad could support having multiple projects open. I'm sure there's some technical reason why it doesn't, but I don't know. Right, so so this is the audio out. So we need to change these so that it makes sense. So Aud L is the audio going in to the amp. Oh wait, we still need to switch. Yeah, we'll still need to switch the PCU. Do we? Do we just use an op-amp? No, we. Because we have no switching signal, it doesn't know which source is going to be. No, you know what? We'll just combine the two. We can just use a simple resistive. 2 resistors, 2 sources, 1 output. There's probably a better way of doing it, but that'll be an easy way of doing it. Cool, so this was audio out of the cab, this is audio in. Yeah, so the lightning strikes are definitely getting closer. I'm surprised I'm not hearing them that much. A in R. And that's A out. Well, there's the thunder. Yeah, just come over here as well. That's quite intense. Right, so there's the audio A ground. We don't need those anymore. Oh wait, what was that going to? That's audio. Oh, I've got that backwards, haven't I? Yeah, I have. So that's audio left down here. So I think the cutoff for the audio on the subwoofer, it can do low frequencies. Obviously, it's not going to go down to sub 20 hertz, but it will go it goes surprisingly low. Like the sound, I thought something I've designed and something that I've built wouldn't sound particularly amazing, but it doesn't sound bad, to be honest. So in actual answer to your question, no, it won't be super low end, but it will at least it will have some good bass to it. I do have a video of that somewhere. What was that pin now? I've lost the pin numbering already. I should really have written this down somewhere else. Right, let's go into the other one. IO panel. Audio left, audio right. And then that is... Oh, that's the return channels. I should have paid more attention. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it floods it. No, not floods, but you know, pours down. Right. Let's get... Cool. Let's get a bit dark in here. Let's get some light. And then he said, "Let there be light." So this is audio out right, audio out left, and this is, wait, that's not right, that's on this side, like so. So then what we want is amp L and then amp R, I think. Cool. So I think, where's my tone board? Actually, this, just for reference, this was designed probably a year ago. And it was never fully complete, so that's why it's a bit all over the place. So let's see. This should really be a separate PCB, but for the sake of manufacturing, I'll have this bolted onto the side of it so that you can just snap it off. Right, so just trying to understand. So that's the master volume. 6.8. Right, so 6.8 is a master volume, that goes out, goes through the capacitors, goes into the tone board, and then that gets returned. This is a weird way I've laid that out. But I think 2 and 4 are my left and right. And then, yeah, so 2 is left. So we'll just make a note of that. That's a terrible name. So this is 2 is right, 4 is left. Cool. And then so if that's right, that means 6 is right. It's almost like I made this easy for myself. Somewhat easy anyway. Actually, I should swap those labels so it's less confusing, shouldn't I? Yeah, let's do that. You on there, you on there. Right, so I should probably, well, audio in, left, right, audio out, left, right, ground, amp enable. So amp enable will go to the relay circuit, and then that will go and get triggered on the by the 555. So amp standby is a different signal, but I'm not going to use that for, I'm not going to have that going outside of the PCB, I don't think. So yeah, what connectors are we using? These are these SMD, because I'm going to need to make use of every bit of space I can. So if I use SMD pin headers, that means I can run traces underneath it quite easily. Right, so let's go SMD on that one. Should be using SMD here. I am. Okay. Right, so at the moment, all that this is doing is just saying that these signals exist. If I'm not mistaken, I can just put something like a couple of 4.7k resistors in. Actually, I'll just say like I've got 2.2k. If I did 4.7k, and then move these labels down here. In theory, I should be able to do A in and then PCL. Like, this should work, shouldn't it? I seem to remember like most like circuit boards that have multiple audio channels, they'll just use a load of resistors to join it together, don't they? So we'll put it like that for ages and see how well that works. This does mean though, the only problem with doing it this way is that then you would be able to get the audio, the line, potentially get a attenuated line level audio out from the audio in jack. I'm sure there's a better way of doing this, but I'm not sure what that is at the moment. I like how I was going to start routing a PCB rather than doing this kind of stuff. You know what, let's do that, because I'm going to get lost otherwise. So this is going to be the front of the board where the subwoofers go. So I don't mind the connectors being in here, because you're not going to remove the subwoofers all that often, and when you do, there'll be a plug on the back of the subwoofer that you can remove rather than just remove it from this board. So I don't mind that being there. The header things I want to be more accessible, so they can go at the back. I need to change that pin for a 6-pin connector, or do I? No, I guess I don't need to change it because I can just use a different connector for... Yeah, let's just stay like that for now. Update the PCB. Oh, where's that 4066 coming from? There it is. Don't need you now, and I don't need you. Alright, go to the board, annotate. Okay. So let's see, how can we do? So this is J6. J6 is the tone board thing, so that can go at the front. Out of the way. Right, let's get you, so you're centered. Let's put you right there, and we'll put you same place. Good lord, it's raining quite hard now, isn't it? Cool, right. So, if we have a look at this. Yeah, there's not a lot going on there. There's only a few capacitors in the sort of general vicinity of the thing. Good lord, that rain is coming down heavy. Now what's J5? That's the tone board connector from the top. That one can be through hole. It doesn't need to be SMD on this one. Cool. How is that working? That looks like a strange way to do it, but apparently that's the way it is. Okay, so this is where I need to change to doing the whole thing using inches, and I then cry. Cool, right. So where are you going off to now? Right, so let's see. If we can get all of the parts sort of together and condensed, then it should make it easier to package up. So because some of these parts are for the, yeah, like that for example, that needs to be a I'm not even sure we need that part, to be honest with you, but we'll just put that as a we'll put that on the board for now. Oh, these are all 2012 parts. Cool. Sorry, 1206. What am I saying 2012 for? Right, so where are all these caps going? So that's amp L, that's going over here. Yeah, I think all of Gloucester's having rain at the minute. See, I think that this is kind of the most painful part of PCB design, is when you've got components that are just shotgunned all over the board, or at least put randomly, not even close to each other. Well, that's amp standby, but I don't know why that's... KiCad does do auto routing, but quite honestly, I've always enjoyed routing my own PCBs anyway. It's just one of the few things, like, if you make a good design, you can tell. Like the I/O board for the cab, which is roughly going to look like that, that was all done by hand, because it was just a lot easier, well, a lot more fun for me to do it that way. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't automatically place parts nearby each other, I don't think. KiCad's not hard to learn, in all honesty. Like, I really don't think it's that hard to learn. I think if you've used any PCB software before, you just have to know where the shortcuts are, really. It gets a lot simpler after you learn those. And I suppose the one thing that I have used here, which is different to at least Eagle, is that all of the symbols and the parts, like the actual footprints, are separate. You can have any symbol connected to any footprint, it does not matter. At least in Eagle, if you had a part and you put it onto the schematic, you had to specify a certain you had to specify the footprint, or rather inside of that part in Eagle's library. That was it was an integrated thing, and I never liked that, because every time you'd add a part, you'd have to add a new footprint, like go and make the footprint yourself, or just copy and paste. It's not like in KiCad, you can just make the symbol and then use a standard footprint. Right, so where do half of these... Trying to find ideal layouts for this is going to be fun. Cool. Right. Okay, so this is all looking to be for the... Yeah, this is looking to be all for the tone board. I suppose this is the input connector. It doesn't have to be... Well, it doesn't have to be super accessible, but it does need to be accessible, so we'll put that down here as well. Two connectors for the... Oh yeah, we need to change the grid. So we need it to be 0.5 mil. Cool. Put that here for now, and then just align that to those. I'm not super worried about these connector placements right now. It's more about getting all this onto that. Oh yeah, slots. So I should run them where the fins are expected to be, shouldn't I? Oh, there's a question. How do you do a slot within... It's something like with a fab, isn't it? You need to use the fab layer. I'll have to look into that in a second. Because I know which manufacturer I'm going to use between the fins. Yeah, actually I suppose that's right, because yeah, okay, that makes sense. Right, so that is down there. I'm going to run out of space on this PCB pretty quickly. I think it's just one of those, it's too small, so we'll have to spread the I/O connectors off to the side. Oh, I need to remember that I change these a lot. That needs to remain around here. The problem is I can't do that. I don't have the space. Or rather, I could do that, but if I have the heatsinks all in one place, then they're going to be in the middle of the cab. But if I have them on the edges, it's going to be more of a pain, because let's go into Fusion, I'll show you what I mean. So here's the innards of the cab. If my frame rate has dropped, I apologise. So the PCB has to fit within this space. So it has to fit in these walls, and it has to fit from here down to there. The problem is I need heatsinks, amps, I/O connectors, relays, all this stuff, and although I can extend slightly sideways, I only have 15mm and less than that on the edges. So all of my I/O connectors basically need to extend to around here, but I can't put the heatsinks on the back here at the edge of the board. And although I could put one on the front, which I could do, but if I keep them together in one block so that they're both... where's my other amp PCB gone? Where has that gone? So if I had the amps side together like that, it makes it a bit easier for cooling as well. Height I'm fine with. I've got no worries about height up until the front here, but even the height of these heat sinks, they won't obstruct anything over here. It's just X and the width and depth is a problem. It's not an ideal space to put anything in all honesty. Right, so there's the other. I could do a riser board, but I want to make it relatively easy and cheap to do, and it's going to be a pain. If I'm making more of these, it's going to be easier if I have just the 1 amp PCB than it is to have multiple and have to order multiple boards and keep all of those together. There's a lot of considerations that have gone into this, and it's a pain. Right, I need this over here somewhere. God, there is just so many parts. Just so many resistors, capacitors going everywhere. And some of them aren't even technically for this. Well, I could mount the board vertically, but then the problem is, if I mount it vertically, I only have really, I only have 60mm depth to mount them to. Now I could extend this panel in future, but then it would start causing issues with mounting. It would start interfering with the coin door, because I'm going to have to put the volume control somewhere more accessible. Hi Agaro, no, we haven't broken anything yet, we're just discussing options on how to actually make this possible. When I say this possible, I mean we're trying to get this PCB with 2 amplifiers, a relays, a smattering of parts and connectors, and we're trying to put it into this space in here, because it's basically the only space it will actually go into. Mounting it vertically could make sense, but I don't want these side pieces to go all the way to the back, because I don't need to. So that's 130. Let's call that 150. So I could mount it onto the back of that and have a lot more space. I'd still be limited on the width, because then I'm still having to worry about the subwoofers. But that would leave the entire centre bit free. I could have the heatsinks coming off basically to the boards like that. But if I put the amps, no. Really, the amps would need to be, the heatsinks need to be like that for the fins to make sense. Because any other way, the airflow is going to be blocked. I know I could get the package to be flat, but then that's going to be, the downside is that the board's going to be longer, So that's not going to work as well as I thought it might. And so we're going to have that problem anyway. So because we'd have to find a PC, we'd have to find a heatsink that would be able to be mounted basically that way round. Anyway. And of course, here's the other thing as well. I have to consider about airflow in this cab because, I mean, we're going to have a NUC in there, which has got active cooling. We're going to have 2 amplifier PCBs, which should get that hot, but they will make heat. I'm going to need some kind of fan on the back, so I'd have to think, maybe put some air slots in the PC into the frame. The problem is I'll be honest, I don't want to touch Class D. There's a ton more components, there's a lot more filtering, and of the Class D amplifiers I've used, they have been terrible. They sound awful. At least, like, I know you can get some good Class D ones. I know that most modern devices come with Class D, but the ones that I can get, like, quite like readily available, and I can basically get eBay PCBs with them on, they sound terrible. And you'd need big components, so I think I'd end up using more PCB space with all those components than I would with this. I2S is nice, but the problem is I don't need I2S, because the only thing I'm going to get I2S from is I'm only going to get it from the HDMI port, and I needed a separate decoder for it. And the monitor PCB can output I2S audio, but I still want to have I need to have an analog line in anyway, so I can't just get a I2S an I2S only DAC amplifier. So. And the thing is, like, I don't need a DAC. I don't need a separate DAC. I'm not using this PCB. I'm not using this NUC just because it doesn't have a DAC on it. The NUC 8th gen that I would like to use, which is more than enough power for what I need, and I know it works. It has audio headers built into it, if I recall correctly. Yeah, down at the front. This isn't a good example of a PCB because it doesn't show it, but I'm fairly certain that the one I had from work had a audio jack on it, and it also on the inside of it had an audio header, so I'd be plugging from that header into the amp PCB. Yeah, this is a thing. Like, this whole cab is compromised. It's compromised. I could do it with Class D, but then I have space concerns. I could do it with Class D if I didn't have to worry about analog in, but the requirements I've set myself kind of have forced my hand in this. But yeah, it's just more easy and convenient for me to just stick with AB, use the audio like analog audio, and put that into the amp PCB. But then we have obviously the problem of we got to pack it in a certain space. And here's the thing: if I find a small heatsink, or I realise I don't need a bigger one, bonus. I'll be honest, Gary, I don't get that joke. What's 43B? Well, you successfully confused me for a moment then. Right. so that's another one where I need to... So I'm not sure quite what I'm doing with the audio inputs there at the moment, but I need to keep those roughly together. Right, that goes with that capacitor there. Yeah, I must admit, I wish I had something to eat before I started, but hey, I'll probably go and do it as a break at some point. I don't intend to do it for 3 hours this session anyway. Whoops. Right, so those two go together, and those go up here. So are these connected? No. Let's try to make this so it doesn't get completely messy. This is going to get completely overcrowded. You know, I think it's going to be fine in terms of being able to fit everything onto the board. It's going to be tight, but I can. These op amps are going to be fun, but it's not going to be impossible. Because this back one, which powers the subwoofers, they only really need to have audio going to it. Yeah, I need to get that song off of there because it ends way too abrupt, and I know why. It's because it was a work in progress version of it. Right. Where's that going? That's just going to. Oh, when did I change my grid spacing? Cool. I mean, I could probably put SMD caps on here to replace these, because axial caps take up a ton of space. But that's ground. Where's that going to? Oh, okay, that makes that easy. Well, then I wonder, can I just... Because where's that going? That's going to So we'll keep that over here. So I could probably put these fairly close together like that. Because everything's going to be tight, but not super tight. That's going where? Right, so how big is this board? Because I know it's... Alright, so that's 150, so that's the max extent I can use going from the front of the cab to the back of the cab, so I need to go outwards now. So let's move these because these are not fixed nor finite, they can go wherever. But all the other components are moving elsewhere. Right, where do these connect up to? Okay, that needs to be set to 254. Right. Okay, and then that is connecting to there. So really, that cap would move more sense moved over there. That to here, and then that probably behind it like that. Right, where's that? That's amp standby. So that needs to go on this side as well. Nah, you don't need to do anything productive. He says live streaming because he's not been, well, creatively procrastinating. Right, that's amp standby, so I can keep that over here. Sure. Put that there. That's VCC, that's ground, that's... Cool. I would have expected a lot more parts going towards the op amps, or sorry, the tone board. Yeah, like that. VCC ground. Yeah, well, you've just dumped yourself in that one, so... Come on. Don't crash on me now. In fact, let's save that, because if there's one thing I've learned about KiCad is never assume that it's going to survive. Cool. That's a real nice grouping, I love that. It's not the Mac's fault, it's just KiCad. KiCad is unstable. I don't think anyone needs to be told that. Oh, KiCad's actually relatively, of open source software, it's actually one of the most stable pieces of software I use, so I won't give them too much crap for it. Okay, right. So that really would make more sense up the top, but then maybe not. As for that pad, I suppose we could put that at the top because there's a bigger grouping up here. Why is that not aligned anymore? Why is nothing aligned? Did I move my... I moved my thing, didn't I? Moving the grid origin is a pain. Whoever mixed this song, I really wish they hadn't have done such a high compression on it, because it just, the fact that that beat takes the song volume way down really irritates me. And let's add some fires, not fires, let's add some trace size too. Well, let's go 0.2, 0.25, 0.3, 0.3, no, let's go 0.5. Actually, we'll do 0.35 as well, and then we'll do 1, 1.5, 2. Here's, I think I needed to do, so size was 0.4, a whole 0.2. I think that was quite small. Actually, yeah, that was very small. And you did size 0.6, 0.3. It's 3D printed parts, isn't it? I mean, it's more about the jostling, like them hitting each other that probably damage them, but it's plastic and it's light, so I'm not sure, in all honesty. I'm going to turn off the silk screen because I don't need to see that at the moment. I was like, oh, look at all that space, and then I realised I completely just turned off the silk screen. Actually, yeah, let's just leave that on for now. Yeah, I wouldn't ship a PS1 with just newspaper. Do so at your own risk. That would make more sense being up here then, rather than down there. Like so. And then that can go straight from there to there. That would also make more sense being closer up. put that there. And then that can go on the outside down there. That can go across like that. That needs to go over, but that can go like that, and then we can just go crop up like that. Cool. Although that wanted to go. Oop. I suppose we could just. Where's that going? That's going elsewhere. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's rotate that around like so. And we can use the. I never expect Amazon packaging to have any kind of material in there. Cool, so that's that resistor bank done. Is that really pin A not used? Yeah, I knew it. That was going to need. So what is that? U2. So U2 needs power. Yeah, I'll be honest. When I was in the, so when I was doing my former job, I used to end up getting a lot of like boxes and a lot of spare packaging. And then I moved to the current job I'm doing, and there's none of that. They do not ship that often. I really need to get some new songs. I just don't want to pay money for them. I know I could make my own, but I'm not that efficient at doing that. Oh boy, my battery's about to die. Cool. Do I have a charging cable? I mean, I'm not using it, but still. I'll just turn it off for the moment. Where's a charging cable? God damn it, Apple, why do you have to use lightning still? I don't know if I have a lightning cable upstairs. Be right back whilst I find a bloody lightning cable. I am back, and I have a feline with me now. She decided she didn't like the rain and wants to come in. Only thing is, she thinks she's going to get strokes, and I need to get on with this PCB. So she's going to be sorely disappointed, I think. Say hi. No. You can stay there if you want, but you're not going to get strokes, unfortunately. I mean, this is signal I don't really need. To be honest, anything would be better than nothing. Alright. This is ASMR, isn't it now? You know you're interrupting my stream, don't you? Your centre of attention, you have to be, don't you? So have you actually printed the parts, or are they still sat on a hard drive? Hello. I can't remember now what we agreed. Well, you know what we said about. Yeah, so I really want to get the monitor, well, the LCD mounted. Not in an immediate rush, but it is something I'd like to do. Cat, you're going to fall off. Come on, sort yourself out. I don't mind you being there, but I don't want you trying to fall off and then scratching me on the way down. So that needs to... Okay, you go there, that's fine. Where's this going? That's just going down there. I need to see what amp standby is for. Wait, hold on a second. Oh no, it's just a few parts, is it? I thought there was more parts than that, but apparently there's not. It's just a smattering of small components. Which makes me more suspicious, the fact that I've got a couple there. Yeah, maybe they are all there, just didn't look like they were there. I still don't know what this is about. But oop. We can put those two caps next to each other. And then we'll just move that one slightly apart so that they're evenly spaced. Love it. Do I keep... Oh, do I keep moving... I need to stop moving the grid. Right. Right. Now I've stopped moving the grid again. Do I really need 100 nanofarad? That seems like it was for the TS, for the TO. Cool. Right, let's... Okay, that's just audio ground, or ground even. Oh, that's annoying. It doesn't fit. I mean, I can make it fit, but that's still annoying. So let's get rid of that. R9, where's that? R9's for the thing, so we do want to keep it relatively close, but we can put it down here instead. So what we could do then is rotate those two around, and then we've got closer access. Cool, and then I suppose what we could do is go from here up to here instead. Put a fire down in there for ground, and we should be good. Cool. We'll put fire in here as well, just so that we know that those are grounded. Now, that should be fine. Close to the edge of the board, but it should be fine. That feels a bit too close though. I suppose what I'll do is bring those caps down. Oh, we're not even centered, that's helpful. And let's center this up to right, let's center that up like that. I'll go back to 254. Right, and then I believe those are the output pins. So we definitely want some thick traces going from... Oh, does it not? That not 12 volt? Okay, that's... Okay, so those are the outputs. So we'll probably move those. Where's that going? That's going over there. Cool. Let's get some. What was 10? 10's diagnostic, isn't it? Yup, I don't need 10. Right. What's 4? 4 is the input. So it doesn't need to be a particularly high value trace wire. 12 and 11 I'd also imagine is, yeah. Oops, that's the wrong thing to click. So can I put a nice thick trace? So that gets my 12 volt there. I feel like that cap is too close to, well, quite frankly, everything, but actually, yeah, it is. It's a signal one. It does not need to be. Let's move all those down. My favourite way to do it is, oh, that looks important. Where's that come from? Do I keep resetting the grid point? Let's just move these tracks and components down just so that they line up with the grid, because at the moment they don't, and it's kind of annoying. Cool. Right, so I don't need a 1.5 mil trace here. Cool. So that's that. So how do I trace that through there? And I've got 5 now. voltage to worry about there. Oh, that's a nice route to take. And because I need to get that trace out down there, I'll put that down here. That way that can come out like so. There's an itch on my head underneath my headset. So what I can do now is flip this around. Completely butcher that trace up. Do that, and then move it over a tad. Like so. There. I feel like that should be closer, but quite honestly it'll be fine. We're not going for massive high fidelity content here. Well, then what I will do is move that resistor down there, put that capacitor up there, put that one over there. So that should allow me to get to the VCC in there a lot easier. Where's this going? Okay, that could go over here. Hiya Neil. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's basically one of the projects I've wanted to do probably since 2000. I want to say 2008. Not just like making a mini DDR cabinet, but like building mini scale but working models of cabs, and hopefully I can do a few more in future. I have plans, but I don't want to go into them because some of them are they're even more ambitious, I think is the word, than this DDR cab is. Why are my tolerances all off over here? Am I using... Okay, why am I... Yeah, so I think we spoke because when we spoke I hadn't started anything and I was asking you, does the woodworking seem alright, would this stand up? And to be honest with you, now I've built it, I was like, yeah, this definitely, you could stand on this and use them as ladders. But that was like 2021, wasn't it? Because there was a year hiatus because I basically couldn't get the tools, and then when I did get the tools I lost motivation for a load of things. So yeah, that was, good lord. And now I've got, ideally I need to get this, well, get this done by October if I want to meet my deadline. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but we'll see. Nice to see you again, and like I say, thank you for the interest, because I've always felt like it was one of those projects where it is an interesting concept, but not everyone is super interested, because it is like it's more, I don't want to use the term niche, but you know, there's arcade gaming, and then what I'm doing is, I mean, it's cool, it's generally arcade related, but like the people who are really interested in that are the sort of the Bamani guys. So how can I route these two cables through? Cables, wires, traces. Be really. So that's really irritating. I need to get that across there. I know I could use a via, but I'm trying to put it all on one side if I can. If I was to pull that, can I pull this trace out through here? Like so. Okay, well, we'll just leave it like that. And then we disconnect that. Can we then bring that through elsewhere? Because that would let me pull this one out through here. That's a really awkward way of doing it. Whereas if I just get rid of that, I should just write down like that. And this is a capacitor. That's a resistor. I'm thinking too hard about this. I think I should do that. Leave that the way it was. And how do I connect those two up? Because doing that is just silly. Possible, but silly. I don't want to move that one. I'll just do it via. Standard to be damned. And then we can just bring. Ooh. Then we can just bring the trace down here like that. Although we'll do like that because it looks neater. That needs to go all the way up to the top board, so I'm not too worried about that. That again needs to go up to the top. So can't. Okay. Let's put you in the center. So that you're lined up roughly. What's going on here? Why is that not connected to? No, I've not moved to grid. Oh, is it just being funny with me for seemingly it? unknown reasons. Cool. Let's put it down there, ground. Oh, do the traces. Yeah, so I think what we'll do is we'll make this an L-shaped PCB, we'll put some stuff off to the left. Because these don't need to be, this side doesn't need to be that bad. Cool. So what exactly is this connecting to? This is just pin 6. Pin 6 is SVR, so that does need to be relatively close. Then that is anything special. Yeah, that's the amp in. And that is the other side. We'll put user 2.5. Right, so that's that. What was that? That's audio. I mean, that's an audio input, but what audio input, I don't know. But we'll do it like that so that all the caps are generally facing the same direction. Because we've got, other than those, which I suppose we could just put up here. We didn't put the 555 on the thing. Alright, I'll see you later, Neil. Thank you for dropping by. Yes, I will not slack off. I need to get this done. I'm way behind on my schedule. Right. I'm still not sure how amp standby works, so meanwhile those can go up here. I'm not too worried about the spacing. I'll be worried about that. So what I'll do, move this up here, probably move those across one. Oh, for goodness sake. Need to change that keybind. That seems inefficient, but it does work. Five and 4 were inputs, weren't they? Yeah, they are. We'll put them on a higher one anyway. Actually, I suppose what we could do is just move that one to over there. Get rid of that entirely. And these ones down here were thick traces at 1.5. And then if we moved all of these up, just enough so I could get that tracer out and sneak it like that. Right, then we get rid of that trace, redraw it. Why does Z clear my thing? Okay, now we're hitting on the... So that will move them across there. Change it back down to 2.5. Go like that. Well, hopefully it does get to me in one piece, because I'll be really annoyed otherwise. I think I trust in your packaging. Right. Well, that's convenient that the subwoofers down here don't have to be too far. We can do those on the bottom layer. Well, that's irritating. I guess it makes sense why it's flipped, but that's still irritating. I suppose the easiest solution would just be to go and in fact we'll just move that one up and over. I'm not annoyed because, like, things get in the way. Stuff, you know, stuff doesn't go the way you plan. And quite honestly, if I, it's taken me 6 months to get round to actually, well, basically finishing off a repair for someone. So if it takes me that long to do, I'm not going to give anyone slack over how long it takes for them to get stuff to me or what have you, because, you know, things get in the way. Cool. chunky 12-volt line down there. How do we do fab? Let's see. So do you just do it on the edge then, do you? Seems like. So edge cuts. And then I guess it's just big lines. Is that gonna do it? That's kind of funny. No, that doesn't give me an edge. Oh, maybe it's because it's not a square. Like so. No. So how does that make it? You'd think that this is a bit more standardized by now, but apparently not. Right, let me have a quick squiz, because this is a bit silly. was it here with the DRC? I know there's so many errors at the minute. I just want to see why the edges is the problem. Oh, I didn't even see that. We can move that one, it's not a problem. Oh, now it does it. Yeah, but we don't want to do it on the fins, we want to do it by the sides of the fins. Cool. So that does work for whatever reason, he just wasn't doing it before. Cool. If that works, then whoops, that's the wrong thing. Let's do an arc. Cool. So how many? 1, 2, 3. 1. Oh, there's 1, 2. Cool. So then we should put those in a group. Although, mind you, that's going to make it quite fragile because how wide is that? That's 2mm PCB. Yeah, let's just move that in. I mean, if it needs more, I don't think it needs that much cooling, so hopefully this will be fine. 1 brick, I like it. That just looks like I'm going to take it and just bend it and it's just going to snap. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What did I do? What did I do? Where's my cursor gone? Where's my cursor gone? How did I do that? Oh, okay. How did I hide that? I pressed something and I broke it. Okay. I guess it only does it when you're... I swear it was... Why did it stop doing that now? I'm genuinely surprised because at the moment I've somehow managed to turn off the full window crosshairs and I can't seem to figure out A, how I did that, or how to turn it on. Oh, curved rats, this looks weird. Thing is, like, it's supposed to be a single key. If I save and close, will it come back? No. How did I do that? Oh, I spelled cursor wrong. I don't know how I did that, and that's kind of annoying me. Greatly, actually. Ah, there we go. Always show crosshairs. There we go. That's better. Nah, I don't want to start spamming keys because that's when you break stuff. Although I feel like you're just saying that so I break stuff. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so I'm gonna just redo that, or just copy and paste actually, I suppose. Copy, paste. B. Yeah, that should do it. Okay, it doesn't like the fact that this is not connected now. But if that's roughly our That's roughly our layout. Excuse me, what? Then that'll give us the things. So just need to put some connectors on for that. Let's just rotate that around several times. Right. So now what we need to do is we need to get these right. Can I put two 1mm traces? No, I won't be able to put two 1mm traces through that. Almost do it, but what I could also do is just go in here, add 0.75, which is close enough to 1, and this is for the driver. The subwoofer needs more power, but the drivers don't. Set to that, and then we'll just route that track with 7.5. Like so, and we'll go over here away from the edge of the PCB. Cool. And we'll do that for this side as well. Cool. Right, let's get this. I think what I'll do, let's get that, get rid of that for the moment, worry about that later. I just want to get some signals to and from the PCB. That can be moved. That can go there. That can get connected like that. And then that can go like that. Right. Cool. So that I should really probably up the minimum tolerance on these ground lines to about, I don't know, for the 508 mark. It might cause issues down here, but it should be fine. Right, so what we can do over here is put that down to 2.5, go onto the bottom layer, go down here. we can't use 2.5 down there. We'll just use a 2 then. 0.2. Snake that through. Like so. And since we're using the entirety of those lengths, we can go down there. Do the same thing over here. Oh, we can't because we put a big fat trace there. Okay. So we got rid of those two traces, and then I don't think it's going to be that much better either way. Cool. Oh yeah, we wanted to put that on the top side, didn't we? You know what, we're going to be powering it from both sides anyway. We don't need this bar across. Because I'm going to bring the power lines up through these, so we'll just go without, and then we'll just put a new bar on that. I do not need a 2mm trace on that. Cool. But that should mean that we can now feed these traces through here. Although I would like it to be nice and even, so... Because this is the kind of silly level of detail that I like doing. Okay, we can't do that. Can we do it with 0.5? Oh, not 0.5, but... 0.1? Yeah, we can. We'll do that then. This is what I hate about electronics, it's just changing through the two different systems of measurement just because no one can decide on standard at this point. I'd love to do that, the only problem is that it's the Americans who don't want to change from Imperial. Right. Thing is, I can see why that was the, you know, it's Imperial there as well. I don't have a problem with that. Like, at least it's somewhat consistently standard. But I just don't like how you have like this package here is Imperial, this is Imperial, and then you've got the Molex KK. Actually no, those are Imperial too. I think most of it is Imperial actually on this board, but you know, you get components there, they'll just swap between the two just out of it on a whim pretty much. Right. I think what I'm going to do is, I think I've got a general idea of what I need to do. I'll probably put these connectors off to the side, and then I'll put this board and make it all one PCB technically, and then just have it so that you break it off later on. Oh, I haven't put on the 555 or the relay, but those are going to have to be, relay would have to be in here. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll finish this board up. I'll finish this board off. In fact, I'll make it slightly wider around here if I can, just so it helps with the not breakingness. And yeah, I'll probably make another stream or another video update, because the way this is going to work is that when we get to the electronics, I'm going to need the PCBs to be done and we know that they work, or if they don't work they need to be easily fixable, but they have to physically fit inside of the cab. So given that, we need to get this done, so I'll do that off camera, and then when it's known to work, then what we'll do is we'll get it all made and hopefully assemble it and it'll be good. But I'll have to come back and finish this, I think, because we're going for nearly 3 hours now. Probably more or less like 2 3/4. But yeah, I need to do some other things, so we'll finish it here for tonight, and then I'll come back at a later point to finish this off. Or rather, sorry, I'll finish it off and then I'll do something else. I'll come back with something else, because I wanted to like design. I basically want to at some point make a case, 3D printed case for my NUC. I want it to look like the 573, so that will probably be a future stream, because that'll be a bit more fun to do. But yeah, I think I'll end it there for now, and yeah, try to get another stream coming. I don't know, maybe we'll probably do one through the midweek. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah. Right, that's going to be it for me today. And yeah, catch you next time. Bye.